Okay, this video is going to examine one of our homework problems, PR9-6. So what I've done is taken the information from Connect and I've placed it into Excel. So all this information, the pieces in blue at least, like this piece, and then all of these schedules that are in blue, these are all given to us in Connect. They even give us this framework here for our solution that they ultimately want. The answer to the problem is this piece right here in blue. But I've also added in a few schedules here because again, there's going to be quite a few steps. We can actually do a shortcut method because of the data that's given to us in this particular problem. But I'm going to walk us step by step doing the full steps of the budget so you can get practice with that to solve the problem. So a little bit longer way. There is a shortcut to do this, but I'm going to do it step by step so you get practice making all those schedules. So I've added in some templates for those schedules that you kind of get used to. But all I've really done is sort of added in what schedule we're going to do, beginning inventory, direct materials, direct labor, manufacturing overhead, ending inventory, and then just put the name of the products that we have. So I haven't really done too much. We're going to still do it out the entire process. But that's the only piece that's added. So what you should see from Connect are these pieces right over here. And then I've added in these pieces over here in gray. But we'll go through the problem step by step and just solve it completely. So reading this first top part here, it says Tifosi Optics produces high performance eyewear for cycling, running, hiking, golfing, as well as fashion frames. Has 4 categories. The predetermined overhead rate is $6 and is applied based on the number of direct labor hours. Okay, then they give us all these schedules. And ultimately, what they want us to create is our pro forma financial statements for income, our operating income. And so that's ultimately where we're going. In order to do that, we're going to start with each one of our steps here, starting with beginning inventory is going to be the first schedule that I'm going to create. So what I've got is the 4 different products that they make, and I'm going to pull information from this production budget schedule. So the production budget schedule is showing us the amount of units that we're going to have, and we're going to translate this to dollar values. Why? Because the second component that we need on the operating income statement is the cost of goods sold. And to get the cost of goods sold, we want to start with beginning inventory. So our first step is going to be calculating beginning inventory. Okay, so in terms of units, I'm going to go ahead and link this directly to our production budget. So beginning inventory right here, and then right here, and then right here. I'm just pulling these from the same line that we have on the production budget schedule here. All right, direct materials in terms of cost, they give that right here. They have a direct materials budget that they have here. So we have each one of these. I'm going to link them here. Once I link them this first time, it should be a little bit quicker after we do this here in just a minute. There's a few different ways I could do this. I could probably do it faster by transposing, but just going to link it here. Our next piece that we're going to do is the direct labor. For the direct labor cost, they give us an hourly wage rate, but they give us a minute per minutes that are required to make each one of these products. So we're going to convert this hourly wage rate into a minute rate. So to do that, I'm going to say equals 13 divided by 60 because they have 60 minutes in an hour. And then I'm going to multiply this by the number of minutes that are required here, like that. And then I'm going to do that for each one of these. So I'm going to copy and paste this actually down and make sure that this filtered, since we're going vertically both ways, should have been able to pull it, and we were. So that looks good there. The next piece that we're going to do is manufacturing overhead. They tell us the manufacturing overhead is $6. They say that over here right at the right. $6 per direct labor hour. So again, we've got to convert this into a minute because we're not given hours, we're given minutes. So we need to convert those minutes into the fraction of the hour. So I will take 6 this time, divide that by 60 to get a per minute rate, and then multiply that by the number of minutes. And we have those here again. So I should be able to drag this down since we're both going vertically and make sure that this dragged the way I wanted to, and it did. Okay, so now we're going to get a total cost per unit, and I'm going to do that by summing up the 3 components of the product: direct materials, direct labor, manufacturing overhead. Got that summed up. I'm going to copy and paste this down here, make sure we summed correctly. We did. And then I want to extend this by multiplying the cost per unit by the number of units in beginning inventory. I'm going to paste that. Then I'm going to sum this, and now I've got my first component of the cost of goods sold schedule. So I'll go down here for my cost of goods sold for beginning inventory right there. And getting a check figure looks good here. Okay, So the next piece that we're going to do is our direct materials. So to do our direct materials, we're going to look at units produced. If we look at our production budget, we're given total units that we're going to produce here. So I'm going to go ahead and link these like that. Link it like that. Again, we could probably transpose this, but I'm just going to link these the first time. Then it should be pretty simple because after that, I'm going to link it here like this, and then I should be able to start dragging these down, and I am. And so now, since I've done the spacing appropriately, I should just be able to drag those down each time. I'll sum this up. What we're really looking for is dollar value, so we don't really necessarily need it summed up, but we can. Okay, and now I need my direct materials cost. We've got those right here, so I'm just going to again link this. And then now that I have that, I'll drag it down and we've got our cost. Now I'm going to extend this. And actually, before I do that, I'm just going to put the per unit cost for each one of these. So, because this is direct labor and this is manufacturing overhead that we're producing. So I've linked this here to that. So I should be able to drag this down and paste it. And I am. I'm going to do the same thing over here, equals, and drag it down and paste it. And I am. So that looks good there too. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is extend the cost. So I'm going to multiply by per units produced by our cost per unit. And I'm gonna do that for each one of these, drag it down because every one of these are doing the same thing. We can check that by just clicking into one of these and we can see we're taking units produced times our cost per unit. Now I'm gonna sum each one of these because I do need the sum here for dollar value. I'm gonna copy this. Each one of these have 4 components because we're looking at all 4 products that we've got here. And so now we've got pieces that are going to go into this cost of goods sold equation, right? Direct materials used, we can link that right up to here for this schedule. For the direct labor, link it here. And for the manufacturing overhead, link it here. Okay, next piece. So we've got cost of goods manufactured. Actually, I'll just kind of complete portion of the cost of goods sold equation here. So we'll sum this up. We've got our 3 components for the goods manufactured. Now what we're going to do is add our beginning inventory plus our goods manufactured, and that gives us cost of goods available for sale. Now we've got to subtract out ending inventory. Okay, so ending inventory, again, we've had our target ending inventory. If we look at our production budget, it's listed out right here. Let's go ahead and link those to the units that we want here. So here like that. Okay, and if we want to, we can sum it. Just consistent here. We don't have to, but we can. Okay, so direct materials, direct labor, manufacturing overhead, that's the same here as up here. So I'm just going to take these, I'm going to copy them, and I'm just going to paste the value so that I don't have to keep linking things. We've already got all of that done. Change the format there, and now that's ready to go. I'll sum this up. I guess I could have actually done this too, copied and paste that, but put in a quick sum formula and works just the same. Okay, now we've got to extend the cost. So we're going to take our ending inventory and multiply it by our total unit cost. Copy it, drag it down, sum it up because we do need the sum for the dollar value here. And now we've got our amount. Sure. Yep. Okay. Now we've got our amount that we want for our cost of goods sold schedule that we can plug in here. So I'm going to put this as a negative number because we want to subtract it out. So that way I can just sum. So I'll sum those two above. And we get 1.786,316.67. That looks good. Okay, now we're going to go over to creating our operating, our income statement, but we're creating a portion of it. So we're just looking at operating income. But our pro forma income statement that we're doing. Start with revenue. They actually give us this amount here. If we go up to our sales forecast, we already calculated, or they calculated and gave it to us, our amount of sales that we're projecting. So our expected revenue here, that's summed. And that amount is what we're going to use for our first step in our income statement. So I'm just going to link this here. All right, our next piece we just calculated was our cost of goods sold. We just calculated that over here. That's what all those steps were for. So we get this amount here. I'm going to sum these up for our gross margin. Okay, next we're looking at our operating costs. They give us a list of operating costs right here. Refer to it right here as operating costs. So production, development, marketing costs, and distribution costs. So I'm going to go ahead and put those in as negatives. If Connect ended up wanting those as positive, that's fine. Just make sure you subtract them out as you're going to calculate your operating income. So I'm going to put those here. Now I'm just going to sum. I put them in as a negative so I can just sum. And then we've got gross margin here of 8,744. Quick check if that looks good. It does. And so now we finished out our income statement here, and this was ultimately the answer that we were trying to get after. Our real sort of meat of this problem is calculating the cost of goods sold equation. And this would be, if you want to do the long form, there's a shortcut that you could do in this problem, but to do the step-by-step method that we were taught in the book, here's the different schedules that we would create, ultimately get our cost of goods sold, and then plug that into the income statement. Okay, this problem is done, so I'm going to stop sharing and then stop the recording.